Alright guys, I'm going to show you how I make my pizza dough from scratch, and I use the poolish method, which lets it ferment for 2 days total. So we start with the bread flour here, and we're going to do 2 cups into this bowl. Kind of have it loosely packed in this measuring cup, because you don't want to pack it in too much. And then as far as the yeast, you can use 1/8 a teaspoon, but I'm going to use about 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I get a nice bubbly fermenting action going on. Alright, and then you can maybe do like, I don't know, like a teaspoon of sugar in there. That'll let the yeast eat away at it. Now the trick to making poolish, to prep the dough, you want to put equal parts water as flour in there. However, I use an actual liquid measuring cup, so it's a bit more accurate. But yeah, since I did 2 cups of flour, we're going to do 2 cups of water in there. There we go, 1. Kind of hard to film this with one hand. But yeah, you get 2 in there. And then we're going to start mixing this up. Get it nicely mixed. We're going to want to get it pretty smooth. Alright, looks like we're just about done. That was about 2 minutes of mixing with this wire whisk. It works really well. That's kind of the consistency you want, kind of like a batter. And then we're just going to cover this up with plastic wrap. Alright, we got it covered with the plastic wrap, and just put a couple little holes in here. That way the gases can escape a bit. Now you can put this poolish in the fridge right away for 24 hours, but I like to leave it out for about 45 minutes just so it starts bubbling. It really depends how warm the water is that you use. I used kind of room temperature water, but yeah, as soon as I see some bubbles forming, I'll toss it in the fridge. And we gotta wait 24 hours. And then I'll show you guys the next step. Alright guys, it's been 24 hours since we started this poolish. See how it looks. See, it's a lot more bubbly now. See all those little bubbles? So what we're gonna do is add another 1.5 cups of flour. We're also going to add maybe another 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. And I'll probably add, you could do maybe a teaspoon or a teaspoon and a half. We'll just do a little bit over a teaspoon of salt. Let's integrate this first 1/2 cup. But we're going to add a 1.5 cups total of flour to this poolish to get the final dough form that we want. And that extra bit of yeast will help it to rise again. Alright, let's add another 1/2 cup so we get up to 1.5 cups. And you can go lower on the flour, like you could do 1.25 cups. If you want a wetter dough that's more airy, more bubbly. But I found that the 1.5 cups after the poolish recipe seems to be the sweet spot. Alright, now let's do one more. And make sure these are loose cups of flour, not packed down. And you're going to make a mess doing this. It's all part of the process. But yeah, just get this nice and integrated. I just like to take this spatula, scoop it underneath, and then push it down on top like that. Eventually you can use your hands. And we're just about to that point. I think we are at that point. Try to get that scraped off there. All right. Let's get it out of the bowl here and onto the counter. There we go. We're going to start kneading the dough. So let's do that. And it's good to have one of those dough scrapers, because this stuff does get sticky pretty quickly. But that's when you do the next step. Yeah, just keep pressing it down, folding it up, pressing it down. You can see it's getting sticky already. I might add, just do one more tablespoon of flour, because I think my second cup wasn't that full, or my second half cup I should say. It's going to start sticking, but once it gets too sticky you stop and you have to do the next stage, which I will show you. Let's start using this this spatula here. It does stick to your fingers, but you just kind of have to deal with that. Yeah, just kind of scrape all the flour to the center of it. Press it down into it, press it down again. Yeah, this is just about ready for the next step, I think. Just got to get the rest of this integrated in there. But yeah, don't be afraid to make a bit of a mess. It's all part of the process. All right, now that's in this state, we're going to add some olive oil. So we'll probably do like a tablespoon and maybe a half. There we go. And it's fine getting it on your surface here. You want to integrate that oil into it. And this will kind of toughen it up and smooth it out a bit. Try to get that oil in there. Fold it over. Oil. Just keep folding it over the top and then folding it inwards. Okay. So that should be pretty good for now. And what you do here, get it off my fingers, just put a little bit of olive oil on the top, like that. Try to get it smoothed out a bit with the oil. And then we're going to cover it with the same bowl for about 20 minutes. So I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Alright guys, it's been 20 minutes. Let's take this off. You can see it's flattened out a little bit, but since this is a less hydrated dough, it won't flatten as much, it won't be as soft, but that's kind of what I was going for here. But what you basically do at this stage is you just kind of squeeze under it like that, lift it up, pop it down, do it again, kind of let it stretch down like that, plop it down, and then just kind of fold it in. Do that one more time if we can. It's pretty stiff, like I said, because it's less hydrated, but that's what I wanted to go for this time. You can do the 1.25 cups of flour during this stage to make it more wet. But it looks pretty smooth right now. Just kind of get the inside all tucked in. Kind of get it a ball shape. That, and kind of drag it around to smooth it out. Let's see. And it's a little bit harder to work with when it's more hydrated. So it's kind of a matter of preference in my opinion, but that should be ready to go in this bowl. And what we're gonna do here, just turn this a bit, is we'll just oil up this bowl slightly and get it all rubbed in there along the sides, all that good stuff. A little bit on my hands. You can do a little bit more on top, like that. Kind of rub it, a little bit more, there. Rub it around, underneath a bit, and then just kind of pop it in there, just like that. Alright, so let's cover it up. We're going to use some normal plastic wrap here. If I can get it out with my slippery, oily Italian hands here. You want to get this tightly covered. So I would do, you want to stretch it out tight so it stays nice and covered, and then press it against the side. And then you might want to do a second piece. You could also put a plate over top of it, but that's not quite as airtight. So just do another one like that. And then kind of pull it down and get it nice and tight on there. That's not going anywhere. Alright, so now we're just going to put this in the fridge for, I want to say, 16 to 24 hours. You can make this recipe faster actually. You can, I think after the poolish step, you can wait like 6 hours and then form the dough. But this 48-hour double fermented method makes it the best, so I would recommend doing it this way. But anyways, let's get this bad boy in the fridge for another 24 hours, and then we will switch over to the final step. Alright guys, and as a little bonus here, I've also made a second batch of poolish, and this is going to be a more hydrated batch. So let's show you how it looks. I've also added a bit more of the yeast to this one. I believe I did half a teaspoon in the poolish, and now we're going to add another half teaspoon because I kind of want to show you guys the difference with a more hydrated, more bubbly dough. And let's go ahead and get our salt in there as well. We'll do 1 and a little over 1. Yeah, that'll be good. Alright, let's mix this up real quick. Mistake I made with the last batch is I put the flour in before mixing this salt and yeast in. It didn't affect it too much, but it's good. It's easier to integrate the extra yeast before you put more flour in there. So that should be good. Let's start adding our flour as well. So this time we're going to be doing 1 cup and a quarter instead of 1 cup and a half. So there's 1/2. There's a full cup. Then we got our 1/4 cup here. You can see. So get all that in there and start integrating it. So you think that's not that much less flour, but it does make a huge difference when you go up a 1/4 cup. I tested 1 extra cup for the lowest hydrated. It works, but it's pretty damn wet. And then I've tried this, a 1/4 cup, and then I tried the 1 and a 1/2 cup. All right. Just about got this integrated enough to pour it onto the surface. Just kind of get under that to get that dough turned over and into more of the flour. That should be good. The little chunks off of there. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil on my hand right away. That way it doesn't stick too much. All right. Pour this beast out. And try to get some of that flour out of there because there's a bit more stuck in there. That's okay because we can add more flour as we go. But yeah, it's getting kneading, boys. This is going to be a lot more wet, like I said. And it's going to need the oil a lot sooner. So you can see it's sticking to my fingers right away. That's okay. We'll deal with it. Try to get it integrated. And it's going to need the oil right away. Try to get it folded a few times. It's going to stick, as you can see. Just try to pull it off and, you know. Alright. So you can see why the wet dough is a little harder to knead. But let's clean my fingers off really quick and we'll get some oil in here. Alright, let's get that oil in. We'll start with a tablespoon. Get it over top, because that's what we do. I'll do slightly more, like just a little bit. Alright. Get worked in. Press it down, flop it around. We're going to have to use the spatula a bit more for this one. As you can see, it sticks to the surface. We're going to do just a little bit more. It's hard to go overboard with the oil, but you can go overboard eventually if you add too much, but this should be just about enough. You can kind of use the spatula to kind of scoop it towards the center to get all this flour and oil together. Okay. Use my hands again. See, it's not sticking as bad now once you get that oil in there. So you just kind of have to get through that first stage of getting all sticky. All right. That's the texture I'm talking about. See that? It's strengthening up. But it's getting sticky again. A little bit more oil. Okay. Slam it down. Slide it around. Get into a bowl shape. You like this hydrated bowl, Pops? You like how I make this hydrated bowl, Pops? Alright. I think that should be good for now. Just get all this shit in the center here. We'll just do one more. A little bit on top. And then, once again, we're going to cover it. Get it nice and smooth first. We're going to cover this for 20 minutes once again. So see you in a bit. Alright, it's been 20 minutes. And hello, hello, hello! Looking good. So let's just give it a little tap on top. Then we'll start squeezing underneath. You know how we do it. Get it up off the surface, lift it up, let it droop, plop it down, grab the other side, do the same, let it droop, plop it down, grab this side again, stretching it out, plop it down, do it one more time. You can just feel it getting like more strength as you do this, and you can kind of tell when it's ready. And now at this point I can just kind of roll it around to tighten her up, tuck in any sides that are kind of showing a gap. It's feeling kind of sticky. So should be good to go. Let's get that oil in here. Get all in there. And I get the feeling this one's going to rise a bit more than the less hydrated because there's more yeast in it, more moisture. We'll see. But it'll probably be a separate video that we do for that. But yeah, let's kind of pick it up, plop it in, fix the shape a little bit. Just Just like that. Looking pretty good, huh? We can probably just do a little bit more oil on the top of it, just to keep it nice and moisturized. And this is going back in the fridge for 24 hours once again. There we go. Pretty good. Alright guys, it's been another 24 hours and the dough is ready, finally. It's a long process, but it is worth it. Look at that. Look at that beast. That looks pretty good. It's expanded, probably double, maybe slightly over. But we're gonna get that out of there and we're gonna chop it up into probably, I'm gonna say 2 balls so I can have 2 big pizzas. It'll be probably like 15-inch pizzas. Alright, so let's try to get it out of there. What I like to do is just kind of get underneath it a bit with the spatula to get it loosened up. Alright, try to get that out of there. Because I don't want to rip it, so you want to be a little bit gentle, but you got to kind of get it out of there too at the same time. There we go. This is a pretty stiff one because less hydration. So we'll just kind of stretch it out a little. It's very cold still. Yeah, I think that'll make 2 good pizzas. So I think I'm just going to cut this in half. I just use the spatula. Be nice to have a actual pizza dough scraper, but I do not. Alright, so you just want to take it and keep the top of it upwards and just kind of fold it down inside of itself and then stretch it over the top. Try not to do it too quickly or harshly because you can kind of rip the top. You can repair it if the top gets ripped, but it's not too hard. This will be a big ass dough bowl, but I'll probably want to make like a thick crust pizza with this. So you need a lot of mass to stretch it out and keep the, you know, the crust pretty thick. But you want to get it all in there. And as you like pinch it off in there, you can kind of rip the top by stretching it accidentally, so be careful. But just kind of get that, try to get that all closed up on the bottom so there's no like gap. It can be a little hard to do if it's less hydrated because it stretches back, but it's looking pretty good. I can fix that up just on the counter just by kind of rolling it around and pushing it in. That's a really good looking bowl. It's very cold, so it's not as stretchy, but once you let it warm up, it'll be a lot more mendable. Let's go ahead and make the other one. Leave that for now. That's a big bowl, Pops. You want to see me make these bowls, Pops? You want to see me make those double fermented bowls, Pops? Huh? R.I.P. to Crack Rock Chris. But see, this one's ripping a little right there, so we got to be a little bit careful. It might help to leave this out for about, I don't know, 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. That way it'll get a little bit more mendable, but this will work fine. Just got to close up the bottom here. Which can be a little difficult, but they should be pretty good. This one actually looks a little bit bigger. Maybe only slightly. But that's pretty much it. You've got the dough balls ready, and then you just want to get like a container and line it with oil, which I'll show you. And you can see on this one it's getting some of them air bubbles. Let's see if I can Nice, yeah, you can see those air bubbles. That's good. That means the yeast is still working. But yeah, just get like a Tupperware or something to keep it in. Drizzle a little bit of oil. Just kind of spread it around. They're already pretty oily, but it's good to put a little bit more in there because they expand and you don't want it to get stuck to the side of it there. So kind of wipe it around in the side. Side's more important than the bottom. And then we'll probably put this big one in there. I'll probably make the smaller one first. So we'll leave the smaller one out to kind of, what do they call it? Proofing it, I believe. But yeah, just leave it in there. I guess you can put a little bit of oil on the top. You don't need much, but just the top doesn't dry out. But keep it covered for sure. And there you go. If you leave this out for about, I would say no less than an hour and 15 minutes to get it really ready to stretch and press, it'll be a nice, like, mendable consistency. Alright, let's move on to the actual pizza making step. And real quick, I'll show you how I prepare the sausage for the pizza. So I start with the ground Italian sausage, and I just drizzle it with a little bit of the olive oil. Should be good. We're going to put a little bit of the Italian seasoning. Do some ground garlic. And just a little bit of salt. Not too much. Alright, and then we're just going to kind of mix it together. And we're just going to pack it together kind of like what you would do with a burger. Because we're pretty much going to fry this like a burger, just not quite as long. So just kind of make it into a ball, or a bowl, as Crack Rock Chris would say. And just kind of flatten it down, flatten it down. And really that's it. I mean, you could put more spices around the outside, which I think I'll do just so it sears, and then we'll fry it up. Alright, and if you guys are looking for those sausages you like, it's right over here on the spatula. Oh, you're not? Never mind. But I'm going to fry it up, so let's get some olive oil in there first. That should be enough. Pan's already hot. Spread it around a bit. And let's get this bitch on there. Fry it like a burger. I would even press it down kind of thin. Doesn't matter if it breaks up, because we're going to be chopping this up anyways to use as the pizza topping. We're kind of doing a smashed sausage burger, but we're not fully cooking it. That's the key. And you thought I'd do this video without the fucking sizzle voice? You're fucking wrong, bitch. Alright, the first side might be done already because it's a pretty hot pan. Could be a little more seared than that, but that'll be okay. Regardless, it's going to cook further in the oven on the pizza, so you don't want this fully cooked. Oh yeah, bitch, you thought you'd escape my grasp? No one can escape the fucking sizzle, motherfucker. Let's flip it again, bitch. Should be almost done, motherfucker. So basically you want that little bit of browning on the outside, but almost raw on the inside, because then it will be fully cooked and still juicy once it's in the oven. This will probably be good enough. I don't want to get it too overcooked. Now let's chop this bitch up. Alright, we're ready to go. Doing the pizza stretching. So first up, we've got our dough ready to go. It's been sitting out for probably an hour and 20 minutes. So it's very flexible now. You can see compared to how it was before. So So what you do is you want to get a little bit of this flour on the tip of this. You just kind of put it along the edge so you can get under that. Oh, it's sticking. And really, all you got to do is kind of plop it out onto there. Oh, don't want it to flip on the wrong side though. There we go. Then we just want to get a layer of the flour on each side of this. Now it's best to use the semolina flour. That's the same flour they use with pasta. And it's got more of a yellow color to it. I do not have any. However, I have something similar, which I will show you in a bit. But we'll just get this first layer. Start pressing it down. What you're supposed to do is start in the middle. Move this so you can see it a little better. And then kind of press it outwards. And this should be enough. So I'm going to transfer it onto this plate actually. And then I like to use this plate to further stretch it. This is my own personal method. There's probably better ways, but this is what works for me. So I can get it into that nice round shape easily. And since this is a less hydrated dough, it's going to take a little bit more work to get it stretched out. But really the first thing you want to do is just kind of slowly get it stretched out over the plate is what I do. But it takes a little bit because it's, you know, not hydrated like I said. So go slow, try not to rip it. Just slowly start to stretch it over. It'll kind of naturally stretch out once you get it over the edges. Kind of like what you do with a pie crust. So that should be good. I'm going to go get the actual pan I use. Now normally you would want to get a pizza peel, but I'm on a budget, so this is all I have, my baking sheet. I lined it with some parchment paper here. But this is what I'm going to use since I don't have any semolina flour. This is couscous, which is made from semolina. It's basically like semolina flour with water that's kind of rolled into tiny beads. But I ground this up. I like to put a little bit of this on the parchment when I put the pizza on there, because it gives the bottom of the crust a little bit of a crunch. I've tried this already and it's pretty good. The semolina flour is probably better, but this seems to work okay as well. So just get it on there, then you can work with it a bit more to get as big as you want. But you gotta kind of balance like how thick you want the crust versus how big. What they say is press it until you feel the surface it's on through the dough. So I'm just kind of pressing it till I feel that. I'm just kind of pressing it into the couscous that's been grounded up. And couscous really is just beads of pasta in the end. Not quite the same as pasta, because I think pasta has more gluten formed on it. So this works pretty well, honestly, as a semolina replacement. But this thing's being a little difficult to stretch. Depends on your environment too. But actually, after I make this pizza, I'm going to show you guys a more hydrated dough so you can see the difference and kind of decide for yourself what you like. This one's being a little more difficult though. You just have to keep working at it. And don't worry about it being perfect. You can sometimes get a perfect pizza, but you need a little more flour too, because once you start stretching it, it gets sticky again from the heat of your hands. So I just don't want to rip it. This might be as big as it's going to get, honestly. We're going to have a very thick crust here, though. Yeah, this one is not cooperating, sadly, but this shows that even when it's not cooperating, you can still make it into a pizza, regardless. It just will not get that shape I want. Come on, stretch. There we go. You can kind of grab it right before the edge. Try not to squish down the crust though when you do this. So kind of grab it right before the edge. That might be as good as we're going to get it. I don't know why this part won't stretch properly. There, that'll be good enough. It just kind of, it'll stretch back though, is the only problem. But the thing is, once you get the toppings on, it kind of weighs it down so you can stretch it one more time. So we'll just leave it like that. Another good thing to do is to take a fork and poke a bunch of holes all through the middle of it. Not on the crust, but in the middle so it doesn't bubble up too much in the middle. All right. Now, first step, we're gonna get our beautiful sauce that we made in the last video on this pizza. And let's see if this is gonna be enough. Man, look at that texture. Now, I did add slightly more sugar to this since the last video, and I added maybe about a tablespoon or two of butter, melted butter specifically. And I'm already sweating because this whole kitchen is heated up. I've got the oven preheated for 1 hour at 550 degrees. I think my oven gets slightly, or it doesn't get as hot as my last oven, so I set it 50 degrees higher. Just kind of offset that. Just get this evenly spread. That should be pretty good. Alright, put that sauce aside. Now, we're going to put a little bit of this cheese, the 5 cheese blend I should say. Just sprinkle a little bit over the sauce. This is optional as well, but I like the flavor of this. Alright. And now we can start topping it with the main things we're putting on. So we've got our nice little platter of toppings. I chopped up some bell peppers, some white onions, and I've got my chopped up fried sausage that you like right there. So we'll just sprinkle on the sausage. Now the idea is to garnish the pizza, not overload it. But with the thick crust like this, it probably won't hurt it too much to overload it. But if you're doing like a thinner, more Neapolitan, then just garnish it. Just keep garnishing it. Alright? That tastes good. Alright, and this seems kind of redundant since there's onions in the sauce, but we'll put a few more onions on there. But definitely want these peppers because these taste really good. Now another thing you can do is fry up all these veggies for just a little bit on the cast iron, just to give it a little bit of color and release the flavor and cook it slightly. But this time I want that slightly crunchier raw veggie taste. So there's that. Alright, let's see if we can just stretch it out a little bit more. I believe the sauce kind of gives it more stretchiness as well, so you can fix it a bit once that's on. I might even have to add a little more sauce because I'm stretching it out more. This might be as good as it's going to get though. You don't want to keep pressing it and messing with it too much. This side is being a little difficult because it's thinner. This side probably gets stretched more that way. And what I do is I kind of line the edges of the crust with some olive oil because that'll get the most browned. But yeah, you would think we're going to be putting this cheese on it on this step. But this is shredded cheese and it cooks way faster than the fresh mozzarella. So we're going to show you the par baking method, which works pretty well for the shredded cheese, and I'll show you an example. But this is ready to go, so let's get it in the oven here. Alright guys, we've got this oven at 550 degrees, and we've got the pizza stone all heated up in there. So let's get this bitch on there to fucking sizzle. You can just kind of slide the parchment paper with the pizza off, and there you go. Close it up, and I'll set the timer for 5 minutes just for the par bake because we're going to get this back out and put the cheese on. Alright guys, it's been a little less than 5 minutes and it's looking like it's already bubbling, so let's get it out of there right away. You can just kind of grab the edge of the parchment paper and pull it back onto the thing. See if I can show you that. You can kind of see it. It's hard at this angle. Well, let's set this down. We'll get the cheese on it. Well, look at how beautiful that crust is looking already. So here's what we do. Obviously we put the cheese on, but what I like to do is do little piles like this. So it kind of emulates the fresh mozzarella in a way. I swear I'm not coping. This does kind of work. But yeah, just kind of put it in little piles like this. This many piles is usually good. And then just kind of spread it around. I feel this method works pretty good because then the crust is already cooked and really you're just waiting for this this cheese to melt. We're also going to put one more topping on here. That should be good. Alright, so we got our private selection brand pepperoni that we got on sale. If you want to see the video, I went shopping, check a link down below. Oh, and remember to like and subscribe after you watch this video. But yeah, let's get some of this private selection pepperoni out of here. These are really big pieces. I don't know how many I'll need. But I figured I would put this on the top at the end because pepperoni cooks pretty quickly. These are really big pieces, honestly. Next time I might cut these into quarters just so I can spread them out better. But I think I'll just do like a couple big ones because these will shrink down a bit. Honestly, let's take some of this and put it over top. So that'll be pretty good. So we get a little bit of a barrier with the cheese and the pepperoni. That should be pretty good. And what I like to do as well, since it's shredded cheese, is a little bit more of the olive oil drizzled on. That'll be enough. That way it doesn't get too dried. Alright, let's get this beast back in the oven to finish it off. Alright, I'm looking forward to this. Let's get it back on the stone. You can actually slide it off the paper at this point because it's so cooked. Paper's pretty brittle, so it'll come right off of there, as you can see. And we'll put it in for another 5 minutes maybe. It just depends how brown you want it at this stage because it's pretty much cooked. Alright, it's been about 3 minutes. Let's take a look. Oh baby, look at that beast. As you can see, the cheese isn't browned yet, but the crust is just almost done. That's exactly how I want to get it, so I might take it out in about 2 minutes. Alright guys, it's done! Let's get it out of there! Oh shit, look at that beast! Just make sure the crust is, oh yeah, that crust is solid. Look at that. Let's see if I can give you a good look. Oh, look at that beast! That is exactly how I wanted the cheese as well. It's all melted, it's just about to turn brown. But that crust, that shit is perfect. I can hear that couscous on the bottom as well. And let's give you a nice zoom shot on that beast. Oh shit! Look at that. Alright, so you're going to want to give it about 10 to 15 minutes to cool. And then I'll show you the taste test. Alright guys, it's the moment I've been waiting for 2 days now. We've got the final result here. Let's give you a look at that. Doesn't that look nice? That's the perfect cheese and crust consistency that I like. Let's do the taste test. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is so fucking good. Look at that fucking, like, I don't know if it's gonna focus on it. I gotta put it next to my face so it focuses. Look at that end piece of that crust there with that bubble. That's fucking amazing, man. Oh my god, dude. It wasn't the prettiest looking pizza that I've made, but this is one of the most delicious so far. Oh my god. This is fucking heaven. Now this will instantly cheer you up. That was good, guys. Well, Thanks for watching another recipe video. Give me a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you aren't already. And I'll probably do some more cooking videos in the near future. We'll see what I do. You'll just have to guess. So, see you guys next time. Peace out.